So on this next story, Terrence, I'm just going to read a little bit here. So the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee voted to give President Joe Biden the power to ban TikTok. We have been talking about and asking the question for a while: are we going to ban TikTok? Like it's already being banned at the federal level. State and local governments are starting to doing it. You're starting to see schools doing it. A lot of companies are doing it. But are you going to see the government come and say, "Hey, nobody have TikTok in the U.S." Kind of like what they have done in like I believe India is a country that has completely banned it. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those things to where it was pretty much on party lines. The vote was approved 16-24, and it took place last Wednesday. But resistance to TikTok being banned at this level is floating around Washington. So civil liberties and digital rights groups argue that such a ban would violate users' rights to express themselves online and distract from the broader debates about data privacy. So the question is it something that we should do because we don't want China in our stuff like that? Or is it something that you have to allow individuals that if they choose to have China potentially steal all their data or use, you use that app and they can get all the access to all your data that's in that app? That's your First Amendment right. What do you think?
Surprisingly, I believe that the government should take some actions against TikTok. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I am of my motto that I live by is never ask something of somebody that you're not willing to do yourself, right? The reverse of that is put yourself in that situation. What would you do? If I was China, you better believe I'd be stealing America's information, stealing their data through TikTok, because I know as China, as a government, looking at America and looking at Americans, we are addicted to social media. We will share just about any and everything because we are, like Chris Rock said in his show, addicted to attention. And we'll put anything out there. And if I'm a government looking to get a head start or get a one up on a country that we don't really have it's not a copacetic relationship, United States and China. We are like the dude or the girl at your job that you hate them, but they're on your team, so you got to work together. China puts out a lot of goods. United States puts out a lot of money. And that's like the handshake that China and United States have made. But that could fall apart at any time for any reason. They're talking about United States is like China, don't get involved in Ukraine, and China's kind of like, I don't know, maybe we should help Russia. We're thinking about it, right? So all that to say, without getting too political, the relationship between the United States and China is on a mutual agreement based off of imports and exports and goods and services. But if worse came to worse, that ain't enough, right? So all that around the world to say, if I was China, I'd be looking for any information I possibly can to get up on America just in case it go down. Because how does that phrase go? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Mm-hmm. So if I was the United States and I know that Americans are addicted to social media and they will share any and everything, as a government, you really don't want to see it. But sometimes you got to step in and be like, yo, people, I know y'all love TikTok. I know y'all love social media. I know it's your First Amendment right, yada, yada, yada. But we don't want this information possibly getting into a country's hands that could use it against us. I don't know what that data is. I don't know what that information is, but the United States government has to do something. Cause I believe, like I mentioned, there's different forms of TikTok for China viewers versus United States users. And that is for that reason. It's like, all right, China's doing something different than the United States is doing. So we need to keep a wall up just out of precautions. Now, is that going to rub Americans the wrong way? Absolutely. Should it rub Americans the wrong way? Yes, it should. But at the same time, it's like you can't wait for something to happen to be like, man, 5 years ago, man, we should have done something, right?
We should have been did something about TikTok. So here's the thing. ByteDance continually tells us they're not accessing it. They're not accessing it. They're not accessing it. I just don't believe that. Facebook tells us that they ain't doing stuff, and it's an American company, based here in America that, we can create laws and sanctions and things to go after them. That's kind of difficult to do with a company that is not based inside of your border. It's based somewhere else. So if the government is for real worried that they're going to take all of this data and they're going to use it to potentially sway elections, to do stuff like that.
Who knows?
Like, who knows? I'm not saying that hasn't happened before. What's to say that wouldn't be, that wouldn't happen again? And TikTok is massive. So a question I asked on another show last week was that, is ByteDance going to get to the point to where they're going to say, let's go ahead and grab this 100 billion from a Western company, get in the code and just let them run it, and we had a good run.
License it or something. I don't know. That would be ideally what I would want to happen. I would want to sever the ties. I don't know what that looks like, but it's still TikTok to America, but it's something totally different and totally disconnected. And somehow, if China wants to hold on, it's like, look, we're making paper off of TikTok because, again, Americans will share any and everything. So that's a lot of money, a lot of sponsorships, ads, whatever the case may be. America, similar to how China makes all these phones and ships them over, similar to how they make all these clothes and ships them over. Sisters, y'all getting your weaves from China. Similar to how we've made these agreements with China for these other things. There's something that we could do for social media, specifically TikTok, to where China can reap the rewards or get a licensing deal or get some kickbacks or whatever the case may be. We just have the data and they have no access to it because, like you mentioned, they're saying they don't got it. They're saying they ain't using it. That could be true now.
Well, we'll see.
If something changes, then they can easily
are saying
flip that switch.
ByteDance is saying that the government doesn't have access to the data. That's what they're saying. The government does not have access to this data.
Sure.
What happens when the government of China says we want access to that data?
You
Do you think ByteDance is going to say no?
They are a Chinese company, and China don't play and that's totally because, again, if I was China, I'd be like, yo, come up off that data. We need it. Come up off of it. And what you gonna do if you say, do you want to say no to China? I don't think so. So just run that data real quick and don't worry about it. We got it from here. That's what I would do. So I have to believe that China would do the same thing because that's what I would do.
Yeah, I know this is a completely different story. But who is the CEO of Alibaba? Is that Jack Ma?
Yeah, it was. I don't think he's the CEO anymore.
I don't think he is anymore. But all I know is that he was pushing back. He was putting his chest out, and then you didn't see him for like 9 months.
Sure did. Run it. Just run it.
Where old boy at?
Uh-huh.
He on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big country. We got a lot of land over here. We ain't sure where he's at on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my thing. I understand that ByteDance is saying they do not have access. But when China says, but we want it, what are you going to do? You're based in Beijing. You're going that they don't even have to tell you that they want it. They just gonna get it. They roll a little different than they roll here.
And I totally understand people, who use it, who would be upset if America put some sort of ban on it. I don't think that's the answer. I think there's some sort of agreement that could be made to where it can continue to be TikTok. But if push come to shove, I understand that people would be upset if United States just decided to say, nah, not on American devices, not on American computers, not on American IP addresses, not on American servers. That would be messed up. That would be not unprecedented, but you could use that as a slippery slope argument to say, well, if they ban TikTok, guess what they could ban next, right? And I get it. I totally get it. But again, if I was China, I'd be like, run that. So it's you gotta think outside of, and I hate to use that, how's that phrase go? You give up freedom for protection or something like that. You don't deserve either. If you're willing to give up freedom for the sake of safety or something, you don't deserve neither, right? I get it. I totally get it. But if I was China, I'd be like, yeah, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that data. So what are we gonna do? We gotta prepare for that.
I know this is not how Americans roll, but maybe we should start thinking about some of these things. Well, if you can't use it in the federal government, you can't use it at state and local governments, because so more and more state and local governments are saying not to this. You're even starting to see schools saying you can't have TikTok here. You have a lot of businesses that are saying you can't even install TikTok on our machines. If we give you a phone, it's a phone that we paying for, you can't have TikTok on it. You want to put it on your own phone, good. Just don't connect your own phone up to our network. That's already happening. But the people are like, nah, I'm good. I still want to see them dance videos. And it's like, I know for me, I'm not preaching to anybody, I do not have TikTok on my device. I don't watch it. I see quite a bit of TikTok videos because I see it come through Facebook and Instagram and stuff, or even YouTube, on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, I don't actually have TikTok installed on my device just because I'm concerned about it. And it's like, isn't that hypocritical? Aren't you concerned about Instagram and, and Facebook and TikTok and this and that and the other? And it's like, I am, but it's not the same concerns. Those are American companies that if stuff is going pretty haywire, the government can do something about it. They can't necessarily do anything about what ByteDance has going on in Beijing. So it's similar, but it is different.